This is Stephen Pope, founder of My Amazon Guy. I'm doing a mic check. We're going to be going live here in about 6 minutes. We go live every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time to answer any Amazon question that you have. Look forward to it. Welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, and founder of My Amazon Guy. Today's Friday. It's your favorite day of the week. We do any Amazon question today, literally any question at all. Feel free to try and stump me. Ask me a question you don't think I know the answer to. Maybe we'll poll the audience. We had one of those last Friday, and it led to a review on ZonGuro's tool. We posted that video on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and did a 35-minute deep dive into a tool that did something that I did not know was actually possible. And that was to find out what your competitors are using in their search term field on the back end. So the only tool that I'm aware of that does that is ZonGuro, and we explored that tool. And if you're curious about that, Sierra will put a link to that into the comments section. All right, so we're going to start taking questions today. Scheduling programming notes. I'm doing a double duty today. I will be on the Jungle Scout Q&A session here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't have your question in today and you want to get another one in, you can find me on Jungle Scout's webinar. Still time to register for that if you're interested. Apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment and want to answer lots of questions today or something. All right. Yesterday, we were on the Jungle Scout webinar, which did very, very well. More than 400 people were watching that live at one point, where we presented on listing optimization. It is still possible to get a recording of that, I believe, if you schedule with the Jungle Scout webinar team. Sierra will put a link to that in the comments. All right. So you guys are all saying hello, hello, hello. Hey, Sean. Hey, Asma, how are you doing? Vazel, nice to see you. Charles, I might butcher a couple names. Hi, Joseph, and Shan, all saying hello here. You guys are very welcome. Rejected by default. Thank you for all the content. I wish I had found you sooner. Well, I think we all think that. Wish we all found each other sooner in life. All right, we're going to start answering questions here. So Dan says, let's go to Dan's first. I think his was the highest up. Nope, you're right. Okay, Sierra's keeping me honest here. Sarah says, you were mentioning rotating titles yesterday. Do you slowly transition from a more keyword-heavy bullets to a more intriguing copy set of bullets as you gain and maintain rank? Sarah, by and large, bullets should be heavily slanted towards search engine optimization, in my opinion. I think most people are looking at images these days and not the bullet points. I would make sure that the first bullet point is 100% written in a way that espouses the value proposition of your listing. So if you're going to spend extra time or even excess time on bullet points editing, the number one bullet is definitely where I would spend that extra time. So what makes your product unique? Why should somebody buy it? Should definitely be in the first bullet. Use the other four bullets to keyword stuff, if you will. And you'll get really far with the SEO work. Now, the question of like how you do this over time is debatable, right? So could you go keyword stuff first, get your indexing in play, then focus on conversion elements later and try and make it more user-friendly? Absolutely. But keep in mind, you're probably better off still keyword stuffing later and rotating your keywords. So definitely not a perfect answer on that one. But I think I would err in favor of SEO over conversion rates when it comes to bullet points. Dan says, any advice on generating external traffic to listings? I have a lot of advice I can offer on this. The challenge is that Facebook, Google, Pinterest, whatever, do not like Amazon. They're not built to integrate with pixel tracking. Facebook and all of those platforms want to control their audience and sell them for money, which is why their platforms, like Facebook especially, is free. And so when they integrate with a website, they basically co-opt all of your data. And so if you push Facebook ads to a website, you put a pixel on the website, you can basically tell what consumer clicked on what ad and what they purchased. And it's all visible from like A to Z. With Amazon, you lose a lot of that visibility. There's currently beta tools for advertising tracking, and they simply are not that effective. So the tool for Google is probably the best one, the best integration, but the tools for Facebook and many of the other programs are tracking impressions and clicks, but not conversion very well. So as an agency at My Amazon Guy, we have not focused on external traffic strategies because it's very hard to look somebody in the face and say, hey, I know this is working, because I don't. I really don't. Nobody knows for sure. So I would say, on a launch for a product, it makes a lot of sense to throw some external traffic. It's not critical. You can definitely launch without it. One of our account directors last week launched a new product. He's already doing $3,000 a day in sales based off of no external traffic and purely Amazon PPC in the US. So it's still very possible to load and launch new products without having to do that. All right, let's go to Matthew here. When would be a scenario where you would put multiple products into an ad group? So, Matthew, I would say I would probably create multiple campaigns across the account. And in situations where you might have generic keywords and you're not sure which product, which SKU, which variation will perform the best, it does actually make sense to have them in the same ad group. And so, for example, if I was selling my funny wine glasses, maybe I'll even pull up my campaign structure and show you. Let's see if I can find something on the fly here. If I wanted to advertise the term funny wine glass, which I frequently do, then I might have multiple products in that campaign. Now, that might be until I know which campaign, or which product rather, will perform the best for that term. And at which point I may go ahead and limit down how many products are in that particular targeting. Amazon will rotate between the products, not knowing which one will perform the best. And then eventually they'll find one that they think performs the best and give it all of the spend. So if I was going to make a new campaign here, and let's just say I'm going to call this funny wine glass generic, and I'm going to do manual targeting with a daily budget of, I don't know, $50. We're going to do fixed bids. I always do fixed bids when I launch a new campaign, but up and down is generally where I head. And then in the ad group, we're just going to call this funny wine glass generic. Okay. And so in here, let me just type in the word funny and see what comes up to see if there's any particular glasses. Looks like we're kind of bugging out here. Look at that. Like the titles just disappeared. That was kind of weird. So maybe the ad console is struggling today. But if I were to take, my social distancing wine glass, and this one is currently ineligible for advertising, by the way. This was literally organic rank #1 less than 4 weeks ago. And I have lost like 25 ranks because my ad is banned from advertising for having the word drinking on it. And I had a couple of videos where I put out about this. Whoops, I went to the wrong website. Sometimes I type in My Amazon Guy and I mean to go to Amazon.com. It's all merging together, guys. So if I type in social distancing wine glass, let's try that again. It's like racing as I type it. And you can see I still can advertise in a sponsored headline, but I can't advertise with a sponsored product. Mind you, this dude is selling the same product as me and he's not banned. So here's case example on how Amazon has different policies for different people. Case in point. Anyway, so we threw the word censored over it. And we're trying to get it back up. We removed the photos, removed the A+ content. We're fighting with them to get it back up. So, all right. So let's say I was going to create like a funny wine glass generic. So I might come in and pull multiple products here. So, maybe I'll put because quarantine, maybe I'll put, I don't know, let's go with aerobics and spell that right, which I apparently can't. So I'll type in the word wine and just see if I can go through something. So winos, we'll go with that one. And it's kind of hard to do this without the titles showing up. And let's go with, there we go. Here's my wine aerobics, right? So I got 3 SKUs. They're all funny wine glasses. And I'm going to come down and look at the suggested bids here. And I'm just going to go into enter list. And I'm just going to do phrase match. Maybe I'll do broad on this one. Funny wine glass. Okay, now the goal behind this is to basically get a generic term in place for all 3 of these products and see what happens. So then I would just hit launch campaign and call it a day. So here you can see we did fixed bids, $50 a day, default bid, strike zone right in the middle there, didn't even adjust it, and I only put 1 keyword on. Here is a case example, Matthew, on when I would run multiple products in the same campaign. What I would not do is if I was selling a black t-shirt and a white t-shirt, I would make sure that the black t-shirt had an ad group built just for black t-shirt, and I'd have an ad group built just for the white t-shirt for the white t-shirt keyword, etc. Let's go to Charles here. Kind of tricky question. We have a lot of unfulfillable units. We tried to make several removal orders for the past 4 months, but they get systematically canceled. Any idea how to proceed? That's really interesting. I wonder why that's happening. I wonder if have you tried different addresses, Charles? Like, have you tried switching the address? Maybe they just don't like your address or your warehouse location. That could be it. I don't think I've ever seen one outright rejected. Are the unfulfillables in, like, are they in reserve status? Could that be the problem? Maybe like they pulled them out of the regular inventory and put them into reserved. This is a very unusual thing to hear about. And I would definitely file a lot of tickets with like screenshots of you putting in the original request and saying like, hey, why hasn't this been removed yet? Lastly, my last speculation, it could be that the system is still overwhelmed and they are just like, we're not going to remove your inventory right now. We'll get to it later. See ya. That would be my last guess for you, Charles. Let's go to Asma. So what's Amazon looking for? An invoice. Retail arbitrage is very tough right now. So on an invoice, they're looking to make sure you have legitimate product and that you're selling the actual thing that you say you're selling. And as long as you provide that, they should approve you. You may get lots of trademark infringement requests coming out of retailers who don't want you to sell their product. There is no advantage of having 20 plus sellers on the same listing. Zero advantage. So a brand owner would prefer to have more control. That's why Brand Registry came out. And so you're going to see a lot more control mechanisms be given to brands, because a lot of the big corporate brands right now are pretty pissed off at Amazon. And Amazon is policing a little bit more, putting more regulation in, and we're hitting that maturity phase of the Amazon platform. So what they're looking for in an invoice, that it shows the item and that you have actually purchased it from a distribution network that is legitimate. Brandon says, hello to you too. Vasily, so product has launched 5 years ago using a UPC code from our CN manufacturer in China, GS1 China. We have our own GS1 barcodes now. Is there a way to switch our existing Chinese UPC to our GS1 US on a listing? Yes and no. I would say you could put the data in, but I think it'll conflict, probably create some errors. I actually don't know if there's a net benefit of switching the UPC at this point. If you're worried about hijacking, if you're worried about other sellers showing up, I could understand it a little bit. But for the most part, I don't actually see a need to switch it. The system does not like having multiple UPCs assigned to a particular ASIN, but it has happened many, many times. I think the max I've ever seen is like 10 UPCs on one listing. So it's totally possible. I just don't know if there's a net benefit to it. Jason says, I have a variation listing with 2 children. My moneymaker child is about to go out of stock. Should I close that listing or just let it go inactive? This is a very heated, debated topic all the time. I usually like to ask a few follow-up questions. And looks like you got another little bit of info here. Jason also says the other child would usually get 4 sales a day versus the moneymaker getting 20 a day. I would say definitely don't mess with the parentage. If you let the moneymaker ASIN go out of stock or close it, probably will have the same results. The other child variation should pick up. It won't go to 20 a day, but it'll probably go to like 7 or 8. So it'll double the weaker of the 2 ASINs, but it will not make up the difference. So I would say we're all in this business to make money. So the question is like, what decision here makes us the most money? And I would say probably letting the listing go inactive, raising the price of it before it goes inactive to maintain as much margin as possible before it goes inactive. And pull off your advertising, let it slow down. Then the question of like, okay, how long is this going to be out of stock for? And based on that, I would probably make some of these decisions quicker or slower, dependingly. So no perfect answer here, Jason. But I would definitely try and get maximized revenue in the door whenever possible. Rudy says, hello, Stephen. Can't tell you how much I appreciate MAG, a soon-to-be seller. My question is Helium 10 versus Viral Launch, pros and cons. Thanks, Rudy. I would say I would prefer Helium 10 very much. I was pretty impressed with the Zonguru tool, but I am very invested into Helium 10's ecosystem at this stage. Viral Launch has not been on my radar for almost a year. And that's because I think Helium 10 just has more tools. Now, I might be doing a disservice to Viral Launch just simply because they haven't been on my radar for a year. Maybe they've come out with like 15 other tools I just don't know about. But you're asking for my opinion on this one. I would go Helium 10. Anytime somebody asks about tools, if I have an affiliate relationship, I always like to let them know. I do have an affiliate relationship with Helium 10. I'm going to post a discount link for 50% off your first month if you want to check them out. Joseph says, what do you think about filing a trademark for a generic brand while trying to explore different niches and products? Actually, Joseph, that's a great idea. So what I would do is I would have like a holding brand. And then as you explore, you could switch the brand name for the niche products if something takes off. So, I'm just looking at my random desk here. So let's say I start with apple cider vinegar, gummies, and then all of a sudden I'm selling cinnamon. I don't know why I have cinnamon on my desk. You're going to have to ask my 2-year-old Sage, who probably brought it over. And maybe I also have like, I got mugs going, right? So like, this is me with my Hunter, my 5-year-old, but I think he was 2 when I shot this photo. Hunter's best friend. Maybe I'm selling mugs at the same time, right? So let's say my initial brand name was brand name goods, right? Generic, could sell anything. And then over time, as something develops out, maybe my mug business needs to be called mug brand name. Maybe my cinnamon business needs to be called something like Cinnamon Mill, like this guy, and you get the idea from there. So by doing it this way, you basically are agnostic to products, and you can pretty much launch anything and then kick them out to their sub brands as they take off. I very much use this strategy all the time. For those of you who don't know, we do offer trademarks at My Amazon Guy. Our cost to file those is $775. And you can go over to myamazonguy.com, go over to trademark registration here. We have a lot of a la carte services that we do offer. What's really cool about the service is we file it in less than 24 hours, 1 business day, and get you the serial number. You take that to Amazon 5 days later after it shows up on the TESS platform, and then complete your brand registry all within under 7 days. So the nice thing about this is you can get trademarks really fast, get your A+ content going while you wait for your items to show up from China or wherever else. Great question, Joseph. Somebody has not asked that question of me yet to date. That is the first time. So great question, Joseph. Rejected by default. If you launch a product in Canada first, get a few sales and reviews before selling the ASIN in the US, will the reviews carry over? They most likely will through international review combining. So if you wanted to show up in the US market with at least a little ground underneath you before you start going, that's not a terrible idea. The Canadian market, it's about 7% the size of the US market. So it's about equivalent to the state of New York. So if you haven't launched in Canada, might want to check that out. We have a ton of Canada content. We had a really good Canadian seller come on the podcast about a month ago, Winship. And so if Sierra, if you could post a link to our Canadian podcast, I think others would find enjoyment in that. So yes, those reviews, come on over. Ali says, hey, Stephen, Amazon shut down one of my products listings due to a high NCX score above 10%. I removed the inventory. I updated the listing, but Amazon keeps shutting off the listing. What can you suggest? So generally this happens in 3 phases, Ali. Usually phase 1, you just simply hit the relist button and it goes right back up. and that can often work even a second time. The second or third time, though, they will then ask you to create a plan of action and submit it. And usually, if it's like strike 2, it almost is automated. They'll just like auto accept it. But once you get to strike 3, that's the problem. And that's where you're going to have an issue. And that's when it's reviewed by a human hand, and it could take a couple of days. For those of you who need listing yank support, we do offer that as a service. I know I'm expensive on this question. It's $1,000 to get a listing reinstated. It's just really difficult work, and so that's why it's so expensive. And we do have pretty much every SOP known to man available to try and get a listing yank fixed. So a lot of work that can be done there. So what I would say to you is, at your point, I would try deleting your listing and relisting it and see if that clears the yank. If you still have a lost dogs page, you have a full-on yank that needs a plan of action, and you may want to hire an expert at this point because you're obviously spending hundreds and thousands of dollars already trying to fix it yourself. Sierra, on the next question, if you could give me an assist. Brandon says, we have Brand Registry in the US for a product, and we are working on EBC in Canada now too. However, one of the children, parent-child listings in Canada, isn't able to be added to the parent because it's listed as a cleaning agent. I've tried a flat file, partial, and full update, and still the same issue. So in Canada, if one of the items doesn't meet Canadian regulation, that doesn't sound like a parent-child issue to me. It sounds like the listing is not going to be able to go live, period. If that's the case, there's probably nothing you can do without providing said documentation. If it's simply because they're in different categories and Amazon won't allow a parentage between those categories, maybe there's a data issue there, and maybe you have to ask Amazon to switch the category of one child in Canada. Don't know for sure. I'd have to look at this one to get some additional insight on it. But you've done a lot of the right things already. Parentage is not necessarily transferable between countries, and there may be different policies between countries on parentage. You could also try doing the sync function between international listings in the back end of Seller Central. That may work, but you've already done the best options. The best options would be to do partial and full updates. There also could be like an attribute issue. Maybe like one of the attributes isn't lining up correctly. Brandon, the other thing I would check is brand name. Make sure the brand name is consistent between the children variations as well as the parent variation. Matthew says, hello. All right. And then Sierra, go ahead and assist me. Don't have sound on you. We'll go ahead and troubleshoot. Let's see. Add you to stream here. I don't know if that helps. All right. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Rudy says, can you please shed any light on your preferred China freight forwarders, as well as info on custom bonds? Thanks, Rudy.
Perfect. So Rudy, I would say freight forwarders have been a lot more expensive and more difficult to work with of late. So like a typical container used to cost like $3,000 pre-COVID. It's now costing as much as $9,000. There are 3 freight forwarders that we tend to send referrals to, and I will go ahead and post those. Freight forward. Let's see if I can find that document. I think it's on my important contact sheet. So if I can find this real quick for you. But basically, we tend to have, yep, found it. So Lucky International, Boeing International, and Phytong. And then there's also Import Yeti. We did a podcast with Import Yeti. So I am debating whether to put these email addresses straight into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and do it. These guys have been used many times by some of my clients. I do not guarantee results. Obviously, you may have a different experience. Go check them out. Go get quotes from all of them. See what it does for you. Feel free to let them know that my Amazon guy referred you and can't hurt. All right. Next question comes from Matt.
I'm reading a lot about scheduling PPC ads, example, turning off early hours of the morning for sellers with lower starting budgets. Do you recommend this? And is there PPC software that has this feature?
So what you're talking about is day parting, and it is not endorsed by us. It's not endorsed by Ad Badger or Better AMS and many other partners that I have high levels of respect for. So at this point, Matt, I think the data is inconclusive on whether it's a good idea. So it could be a lot of work for no gain. I would guess that some PPC tools claim to do day parting. It would not surprise me at all. Intent-wise, Selix, there are, Quartile. Those are the 3 tools that would probably have this feature. But again, I don't recommend it. Most of the robotic features in my own personal testing over the last 2 years have led to worse results than doing it by hand. My team to date has built everything by hand. We've got internal macros on the back end. We do template uploads. We also think that it's more stable to have ads on 24/7, even though Sunday and Monday are the best days of the week for sales and Friday and Saturday are the weakest. It doesn't make any sense to turn off advertising on Friday and Saturday. There's a variety of reasons for that, including the fact that people are still viewing on Friday, but they may make their purchase on Monday or Tuesday, etc. So I think that right now is not a good time to test day parting from my experience. Sarah says, thank you. You're very welcome. And I have lost where I am on the list. Go ahead, Sierra, help me out.
Brandon says, we've noticed Amazon Canada doesn't allow you to add videos, even for Brand Registry. Do you know why this is?
I actually don't know. This is the first time somebody's brought this to my attention. Now I'm kind of curious, and I'm logging into my Canadian account to see if I have the same issue. I haven't paid a lot of attention to Canada, if truth be told. But let's see if we can get to one of my listings and see if my video shows up. It doesn't. Super interesting. So the video manager, well, I'm seeing a new measure non-Amazon ads icon. Okay, so they moved Amazon attribution. That's interesting. Let me put, so Amazon attribution, we talked about this a little bit earlier, measuring off Amazon. And so inside of my backend, I saw in Seller Central, they now put it under the advertising dropdown, measure non-Amazon ads. So that's fairly new. But I don't see, let's see, do we see the video upload? They moved it over to the inventory dropdown. I'm not seeing it right now. So maybe it doesn't exist in Canada. Could be, that's totally new information for me. I've never followed through on that one. So I think you're right, Brandon. Let's go to Bala.
Regarding PPC, if we change the bids when it is reflected to our ads immediately, or will it take some time?
I believe the impact is usually within 1 to 3 hours. Could be wrong on that, not 100%. But I would say that it makes a lot of sense to just do the bids like you normally would and not worry about like how quickly they take effect. Maybe the one exception to this would be Prime Day. Like during Prime Day, if you're not making your changes rapidly or quickly, updating your budget, those kinds of things, you could miss out on some big opportunities. But I think anywhere from 1 to 3 hours is pretty logical. You do need to wait about 48 hours to judge your changes. So I don't usually recommend making changes any more often than once every 3 days because of that. Because if you made a change after 24 hours, it would just not have enough data typically. Let's go to Tion.
If I want to register a new trademark, do I have to have an existing product using this trademark? What if I want to have the trademark for now and print the trademark on the box later?
That is a good question. It's a legal question, believe it or not. I do have an answer for you. So yes, you are supposed to have you're supposed to have a product that has the mark on it and is in commercial use to file a principal registry trademark. So we have a lot of FAQs about our trademark service over at my Amazon guy. So if you have lots of trademark questions, I got like 20 videos on trademarks, like what is a trademark? When should I use a word mark or a logo mark? So my answer to you would be, if you don't have the product yet, go ahead and file a logo mark. That's how you're going to get around the commercial use problem of showing a word mark in use, because the logo mark, you can just file for the logo by itself. Now, the one downside of the logo is it takes 30 days instead of the 7 days. So if you do decide to do that, it will slow you down a bit. Some of the other things that you can do if your product's not in use, it's not ideal. I don't recommend this, but you totally can. You could throw a sticker on an item that is like the item you intend to sell. I do not recommend this. It's just it does check the box to get the requirement to pass. So just, make the decision that's best for your brand and what makes sense for you. If you want to hire us to consult and make the best decision for your business, we can definitely help you out with that. We do use a lawyer to file trademarks, and we try and make everything follow all of the legal laws whenever and as part of that process. All right, let's go to Sarah.
Do you ever send external traffic to a landing page which has a buy on Amazon button?
We've tested it. Usually we only do that if we have like a rebate program going, which we don't really use a lot of anymore. The rebate programs have had kind of some negative problems of late. We've seen actual rankings diminish with them. So it's been kind of a problem. All right. Raul says, Dan Pope for president. That's my father. Not sure what's prompting that comment, but I'm guessing you've talked to my father. He's our sales manager. For those of you who want to look at hiring my Amazon guy, you can schedule a call by contacting us at myamazonguy.com. Ryan says,
when sending multiple SKUs, color variation into FBA, I create an individual LTL shipment for each SKU. Costs more, but avoids potential SKU mix-ups. Do you agree, or am I being too cautious?
So whenever you got your SKUs potentially mixable, this is a pretty safe protocol that you've decided there, Ryan. If you manage to label the cases correctly, though, I don't see much of a risk because each individual item should have its own barcode and each case can be matched accordingly. Now, with that said, I don't know how much items you're shipping in. Maybe it's inconsequential. Maybe you're talking about like $20 a pallet in savings. Or maybe you're talking hundreds of dollars because you're splitting out massive shipments. Hard to know based on your comment. But I would say when in doubt, split them out because you want to make things idiot proof. As long as something is idiot proof, you won't be disappointed. Let's go to Steven.
Some of my ad keywords don't drive any impressions, even with extremely high bids. It seems like if the keyword isn't in the title, then it won't trigger an ad. Indexing issue?
So I'm not sure on this one. It probably might be a relevancy issue, not an indexing issue. So if the word doesn't exist on your listing somewhere, I would add it to make the keyword more relevant for the ad trigger. I would also look at the ad bids. If you're in a hard category like maybe supplements and there's like bids above $5, that could be very problematic. Maybe you're not bidding enough. So first thing I would check, Steven, is go to your listing, make sure that the phrase exists on your listing. And if it does, and you're not getting impressions still, I would check the bids. And if the bids are good and it's on your listing, I would probably ticket the ads team at Amazon and ask them what their opinion is. Sarah says the video that we posted on the Zon Guru responds. That video is going to come out here in a few days. So we posted a link to that one early. Sierra, if you could find the link to the public Zon Guru video, though, I think people will appreciate that one. Genius Lab says, my main competitor made a duplicate listing with minor cosmetic defects and now takes 2 of the top 8 spots plus add duplicates. Is this allowed? And if not, how would I report them to Amazon? So I would say if they're ripping off your intellectual property, definitely report them because this is your food on the table. So it's a problem. And if the item is like if you literally mean like it's the same ASIN product and they're just selling it as like used, that can be easily thought and reported. If they're using like your copyright, your images or anything like that, you could try and report them from that angle. And then of course, if you have a trademark and they use that phrase, you can report them for that. If they're just selling a lookalike item, they're legitimately manufacturing that on their own, then there's probably no course of action here. So on the Sarah video as private one, Sierra, I think they're looking for, I think you posted the video to the Zon Guru CEO that responded to us, but we haven't released that one yet. Go ahead and post the video where we did the initial review of Zon Guru. All right, so let's go to Mikhail here. Is it possible to change ownership of an Amazon account from one company to another? Yes, it is. We have an entire series of videos and playlists on how to run multiple accounts. We cover this topic frequently. We'll post a video link to that. If Sierra, if you could post the multiple accounts video series. And in this particular topic, you need to change the email or the banking or the tax infrastructure. Generally speaking, that's all safe to do these days. The one word of caution I will give you is when you go to change the banking information, do so after a scheduled deposit, not before a scheduled deposit. If you do it within 72 hours of a deposit that's about to go through, Amazon will see it as a security flaw, a risk, a hack, and they will lock the account and it will cause you some trouble. So other than that, very easy to transfer accounts these days. All the horror stories you saw from 2019 and before are really not problematic anymore. Let's go to Andre. Sierra, if you can assist me.
Hello, Stephen. Can I add original customer feedback to my product pictures and Aplus content page?
Definitely not on the Aplus content. Do not mention any promotional material, review, guarantees, warranties. All of those statements are prohibited in the Aplus content. A product review is questionable inside of these secondary images. We do it, but I'm kind of confident it's probably against policy. Have we ever had Amazon throw a hissy fit or have a problem with it? No, not to date. So it's probably safe to do at this point. Let's go to Charles.
Following the canceled removal, yes, we changed our address 3 times and we've opened a dozen tickets. Called them lots of times and nothing is reserved. Now some of them are being disposed.
This is a really peculiar one, Charles. There's something going on with your situation that's unique that I haven't seen before. The fact that you've talked to Amazon and that you're not getting a definitive answer, I might escalate with them. I might go legal on this one. I might get I don't know how much money you have on the line, but it sounds like a lot. I might even pay the $500 typical cost to get a lawyer letter sent and demanding Amazon releases your inventory. Brandon?
We are interested in A/B testing for titles and EBC for Brand Registry. What metrics are you able to see when you do that testing?
I could probably show you an actual test we've run. I do have a video on my social distancing wine glass where we ran an A/B test on both of our title as well as our image. And let's see if I can go to the testing mechanism. So I'm trying to go in there. I got to switch over to the US account. We're in Canada here, and then I'll share my screen here momentarily. All right. So I'm in the right spot now. Now I'm going to go to my A+ contents, and then let's share my screen here. And then in here, I'm looking for the testing. So it says I can qualify. I'm not seeing the button that shows me my past test results. So maybe it disappeared. Well, we'll have to give you a video link on this one, Brandon. Sorry about that. Sierra, if you could find the 42%, look for the A/B testing videos on social distancing. I'll read the next questions while we wait on this one. Adam says, could I possibly risk losing reviews plus product rank for an existing listing if I use the inventory template to create a new parent-child relationship with an existing product and a new variation? Yes, there is a risk here. If you switch the parent, the child variations that are attached may not combine reviews. They have signaled, Amazon has signaled that is, that they will not combine reviews ongoing. So if you change the parent, and you could do this a variety of different ways, I always recommend using template uploads on parentage. It avoids a lot of data issues. Parentage, so if we were going to put a scale of 1 to 10 here on difficulty of parentage on catalog work, it's a 9. It's very, very difficult work to get done. Brand registry issues are the 10. Anything related to brand registry, brand name, that's a 10. Parentage, 9. So be very careful with parentage work. It's very, very difficult work, and you do have some risks. If you're just adding like another color to it, no risk at all, in my opinion. Go ahead and do it safely. But if you were trying to change it from like color theme to color size, you have to make a new parent and your reviews may not combine. Sarah says, have you been having a problem with your trademark service with people getting brand registry denied due to the applicant has been involved in abusive conduct on our website when it's a new seller? I have seen brand registry issues twice out of 300 filings. So yes, I have seen this exact issue before, but it's generally not related to us. It's usually related to the seller account. Do I have a solution on this one? I do not. It's usually like wait 30 days and try it again. Best I can tell you on that one. PC says, hi, Steve. I'm going through the category approval process and need to send pics of my packaging with my content details on the package. Do I need to print on this package or is it a printed sticker? So I would say you need to show the full packaging. Take 6 photos. So if I were going to tell you how to take the 6 photos, take one of the top, one of the bottom, one that shows all the barcode information like this, and then one from each side. That will be critical to get your category to go through. Dan says, best other YouTube channels you'd recommend for staying up to date with FBA. I follow lots, but always looking for more no fluff BS content. Thanks for all the great info here. I really love Ad Badger's PPC podcast. I think it's the best on PPC. Adam Heist does a weekly video with in-depth information. If you haven't subscribed to his, I definitely would give him a check out. Those are my favorite 2. I am not personally watching a lot of other content. Most of my content is completely unique, off the cuff, based on what we see and what we're feeling at our agency. Trojan says, can you go over your launch strategy of your wine glass and strategy for staying on top spots? P.S. Sorry about the ordeal you're dealing with. Yes, my number one wine glass being suspended right now is a huge headache, but we're using it to develop content. So it's like, well, I get a silver lining out of it. My launch strategy, spend $1,000 to $2,000 in the first 1 to 2 weeks of a product on PPC. Have everything ready to launch day one. Use a launch date inside of the Seller Central system to make sure that you don't go live before all of your assets are ready. And spend lots on PPC. Make sure the SEO and the A+ content is fully filled out. If you don't have A+ content, do not launch your product. Shan says, some pages where the rating of a brand feedback shows, for some of the sellers, there is no products tab. Is there any way I can hide my selling products from my detailed seller information? There is no way to hide that. That is public crawlable information from your seller store link. Jacob says, thoughts on putting website and email on the packaging? Jacob, I think that's smart because Amazon has disallowed pretty much any other form of contact except packaging. As long as you don't ask for a review, product inserts are totally fine. Lucas says, hello, Steven. What is your opinion on uploading product video to listings of the 7th image via vendor account upload on Fiverr without brand registry? Do you think there are risks associated with it? No risks. It's probably safe to do. But in all honesty, go get brand registry. There's no reason you shouldn't have a trademark and brand registry. It's 2021, guys. Sarah says, do you have trouble changing brands recently, as noted by Adam Heiss? We do. It was a struggle to change Adam Heiss' brand, and we now have a service for it. It's very difficult work. We charge $1,000 for up to 10 ASINs to change it, which is super expensive. But it's because there's just so much work to make the change. So just posted a link if you're curious. Rudy says, does your MAG trademark service include the USPTO filing fee? It does. So for $775, it's all inclusive, no additional fees whatsoever. So keep that in mind if you're curious. And then here is our brand name change service as well. If you're interested, you can check that out. Let's go to Joseph here. Follow up. So let's say the mug product takes off. I want to build a brand around it. How do I change the brand name for that? Do I need to relaunch? You do need to change the brand name. It's very, very difficult, like we just talked about, unfortunately. You could just launch the secondary products under the new brand name and call it a day if you don't want to have to deal with filing tickets to change the brand name. Mikkel says, Rudy, yes, it does. It does include the trademark filing fee. Sonny says, I launched my product. It's been 3 weeks, selling well. Most sales come from the main keyword. I've been aggressively bidding, and the ACOS is high. When should I lower the bid? Well, it depends on your financing, how deep into the product you are, how much stock you have, how much measurement you're looking for, and whether you can sustain this problem, right? So the longer you sustain it, the more honeymoon period value you get, the more ranking gains you gain. But you are burning money out of your pocket. So that's a personal decision, no right or wrong answer, in my opinion. Sierra, go ahead and grab the next few.
Sunny says, second question, can I lower the bid during some time of the day for the keyword and rise it again in the evening? Would this affect the PPC algorithm?
So this is back to our day parting conversation. I don't recommend this action at this time. We do not believe it's effective, and I do think it actually probably hurts more than it could potentially help. Not a lot of data from my standpoint. I'm quoting other experts, Ad Badger, Better AMS. Their full-time job is 100% on ads, and so I trust those guys on highly technical questions like that. Now, some of you may say, why am I talking about other ad agencies while I'm on a podcast for my Amazon guy? It's because we firmly believe there are other good experts out there. It's us against Amazon, not us against each other. In addition to that, we also feel strongly that it takes a holistic approach to run an Amazon account. And so we don't recommend just hiring somebody for one service. We recommend full service. We think it's very important to have PPC, SEO, design, and catalog all in one house. Let's go to the next question.
Hi, the product is selling with a price of $4 and the lowest shipment fee for UPS is $3 approximate, excluding Amazon fees. How can we manage to sell the item in $4?
You can't. That's the simple answer. You literally can't. Anything you sell needs to be above $15 on Amazon to make a consistent high margin product. Shan, if you sell $4 items, what I'd recommend to you is two options. Option one, kit it. Add it to other items, get the price up to $15. You could kit it in a variety of ways. You could sell a quantity of 3, 4, or 5 of the same item in a kit. Call that a kit. You could sell 2 items together. Hey, you need both of these in the same package. A lot of different options that you could do when it comes to this. Let's go to Adam. Oh, by the way, the second option would be to go to Vendor Central. Vendor Central, you can sell it to wholesale to Amazon and let Amazon deal with the margins.
Can I separate 2 variations to create 2 unique listing pages? Will the current reviews and rank for each variation separate out with each ASIN and show up on the new individual product pages?
Yes, it will. This is very safe to do, almost guaranteed to work seamlessly. The only reason I would generally split out 2 variations if both of them are highly successful and you could gain additional coverage in search results. So, for example, if we were to type in the term wine glass and show this up on stream here, and if in here on the wine glass we thought we could take up multiple, there's my wine glass again with my censored word. Can't say drinking on Amazon apparently. And so if we thought we could gain 1, 2, 3, 4 spots using the same phrase by breaking out the variations, that's exactly when I would do it. So very, very important to keep in mind that if you split variations out, be prepared for the fact that it could affect a lot of sales traction on this. Do so after you think about this very thoroughly. The reviews will transfer just fine though. Let's go to Trojan Baller.
My demographic page on BR is still not showing nothing. When I choose weekly reporting, you were having the same issue last week. Can you check to see if it's working for you? BR support is no help.
Brand Registry support is often no help, unfortunately. You're right. Last Friday, I tried to check this live, and the weekly data was not popping up. So going to test it again. Still broken. Sorry, Trojan Baller, still broken. So monthly is good, quarterly is good, weekly is not. Probably just a delay in data. Let's go to DK Kim.
Which Aplus module is best for launching? Home and kit product? My strategy is for max SEO first and change module for conversion later.
I would say I'm a really big fan of having lots of modules, all 6 custom built, get as big as possible. So I'll show my screen here. Let's go to this A+ content in here. As you scroll down, see how much space I take. how much module space I'm taking, like gigantic amounts of space. Like I don't think you could find another A+ content as long as this on Amazon kind of space. But my favorite module is this one right here, where you have a product comparison module. You can link to other products here. This will increase your average order value and lots of benefit behind that. All right, let's go to the next question. Go to Brandon.
We have been working on multiple bundles for brands, which their approval, however, they do not have brand registry. What would be the best tactic to protect the bundles so other sellers can't hop on it?
So multiple bundles for brands. Make your own brand name. So Brandon, even though you're bundling and kitting, like let's say you're building like 4 Lego kits, don't put that under Lego. Call your brand something like, don't call it Lego, but call it like, I don't know, Bricks Are Us. Something like that, where you build a kit that shows multiple products that aren't yours, then file a trademark for that brand name. That's how you're going to defend this. Let's go to Anthony.
Are most Amazon purchases made on the app? I'm trying to figure out this so I can customize my listing to fit the app best.
Mobile is the most important. I would definitely focus heavily on mobile. Yes, I think mobile is where most of the action is these days. This is not necessarily true for most websites, but it is definitely true for Amazon. I don't have the actual stats or numbers, but if I was going to put my finger in the air on this one, I'd say it's a 60-40 split, 60% mobile app. Let's go to Brandon.
We currently use a competitor's refund service, but they do not follow up on delivered late by carrier claims, which are to be reimbursed by Amazon, but take many cases to sellers support to finally get reimbursed. Is my refund guy able to do this?
I actually don't know the answer to this question. I will have to ask my refund guy team. I know we cover lost and damaged units, refunds, mishandled returns, lost inbound shipments. I am not 100% sure, Brandon, whether we cover late delivery. So we will ask about that and find out. Sierra, if you could leave a note down to send that to our case manager team and remind me, that'd be great. Sunny says, some days the sales are slow, but the clicks are high and PPC spent is more. Can I lower the bid and raise it again later? Would this affect the algorithm? So yes, I think that's the same day parting question we already covered. I don't recommend this. Ryan says, thinking of offering fulfill by merchant new ASINs because FBA will inevitably go out of stock due to the ASIN limits. Any pros and cons of doing this? I would say do it. Anything you can control in your own destiny should be done because FBA right now is opening up, but it still has some limitations. Now, I did see a note last night that any new products can go up to 500 on the limit. I haven't fully vetted this information and make sure I understand it fully. And it might have been for select categories. But by and large, FBM, whatever you can, get it out the door. Definitely recommend it. Anthony says, what would you consider a good conversion rate? I have a product that has 3 reviews, no PPC, 6 units sold a day. Conversion rates between 8 and 12% are good. Anything under 8 is bad. Anything above 15 is exceptional. If you have any conversion rate above 20%, you are underspending on your advertising. Go spend more on ads. Sonny says, what's the best way to send a product to an influencer? Removal order or multi-channel fulfillment? Do not use a removal order. Do not. That's bad. Multi-channel fulfillment order is definitely the way to go because the removal order will get you in trouble. They will suspend your ability to ship product if you abuse the removal order function. Gandalf says, if I filed a trademark under Brand LLC, but my account is Brand LLC with no comma, will that cause any problems? Not at all. Amazon doesn't care who filed the trademark. They just want the code for the serial number approved. And as long as you get that to them, you're good to go. No problem at all. Does not have to match at all. Derek says, follow up, the Genius Labs gear question. They duplicated their own product listing, not mine. Are they allowed to hold duplicate listings? No, they're not. In fact, you can't even sell like used product on its own listing. It's supposed to be on the same listing, just marked as used. So you could totally report that and say, hey, Amazon, these are duplicate listings, not part of policy. David says, can our brand website be on the product packaging? Absolutely. No problem there. Leonard says, hey, Steven, my macro for PPC is coming along nicely. Was wondering, Do you have a condition in yours where it only adjusts bids for like top 20% worst performing keywords for each product? So building conditions and macros definitely makes a lot of sense, Leonard. I'd say definitely continue down that path. You need to create triggers for like when the bids change, how often they change, why they change, and track all of this so you can figure out like where your macro adjustments are going well and where they're not going well. All right, Sierra, hit Charles up.
All right, thanks a lot. It represents $250,000 of inventory. So yeah, $500 of lawyer isn't bad.
I would definitely hit the legal on this. I think, Charles, you've hit all the normal protocols, and so at this point, you got to hold you got to like tell Amazon they got to pay you for the problems at this point. Threat with legal, it's the way to go. They will react. Let's go to Leonard.
Or for your macro, what conditions do you have before making bid adjustments for your keywords?
So I'm not going to release how we do any of our macros publicly. That is the one area where we're behind the scenes on. But in general, I'd say, Leonard, you're on the right track. Let's go to Jacob.
Second question. Is there an issue with Amazon attribution tracking conversions?
Yes.
Hundreds of clicks and no sales. Thanks much.
Yeah. Anything that's not Google, conversions not tracking. Let's go to Richard.
We do the wholesale model for our store and do fairly considerable volume, but we only sell in the United States. Is it a mistake to not be in Canada and Mexico as well?
I would say wholesale going into Canada. I don't know. Definitely not Mexico, maybe Canada. It's just that you're going to have distribution channel problems going into Canada. I would maybe test it on like your top 5%. That's what I would do, Richard. All right. PC says, thanks, Steven. Frank says, hey, Steven, I have an issue with account email login. Login issues. All right. Frank says, I had 3 marketplaces linked all together with different emails. All 3 can be used to log in any marketplace. Now I've deleted these marketplaces, but the emails are still in use. What can I do? Amazon does not find anything in my account as an issue, but I'm still able to use them. I'm actually really not sure what your actual ask is on this because it sounds like you can log in just fine. If you can't log in, I would contact support to see how you can fix that login issue. I have dealt with maybe 10 severe login issues in my career on Amazon. Got 9 of the 10 resolved just by calling Amazon ticketing a bunch. Brandon says many of our MAP products aren't selling since Amazon changed the buy box algorithm in July. Besides aggressive PPC, buying business pricing, what else do you recommend to take more ownership of the buy box? If you are competing with the buy box with other retailers, I would say go launch your own brand would be the correct answer. If you're having buy box issues on your own listings, that's unusual. That usually means you have a new account, which doesn't sound like the case, or you have a problem with your pricing omni-channel off of Amazon. And if that's the case, you need to have a pricing match between all platforms. DK Kim says, how do you get dynamic bids for launching PPC? What percentage setting for adjust bids top placement? I would say anywhere from 100 to 300% with a low bid would be appropriate, DK. Very technical question. I know not everybody's going to be able to follow this one, but basically bid up with top of search with caution. Test it out slowly. Sonny says, I have 3 manual campaigns for my product. I was recently told by Amazon advertising specialists, not a good strategy. They recommend to use ad groups under one manual campaign. Sonny, that's definitely bad information. Run as many campaigns as you can. That ad person might have just been lazy because the algorithm shifted in the last 2 years. Relevancy, campaign structure matters way more than it ever did. Takes a lot more work, which is why I made the lazy comment, but definitely split them out. Joe says, when will the 200 unit be removed? Very annoying. Well, we did see some lifeblood on that last night. Might be getting 500 for new products. I'm very surprised that update has not hit fully yet. Brandon says, sorry for the random questions, but I've been waiting all week to attend my first Q&A. Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Your podcast is my favorite at the moment. I've been listening to all of them at 1.5 speed, so your voice sounds different during this live. LOL, thanks for all you do. Well, Brandon, you made my day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Jolt says, are all removal orders harmful, or is it just overused? Removal orders not to your own warehouse, completely harmful. Do not send removal orders to anybody except your actual warehouse. Hussein says, there are a lot of VAs emerging from Pakistan. What do you think of them working with Amazon sellers? P.S. I'm one of them. We have 2 Pakistanis that work for us right now. I would say they're no different than any other country. I love the Philippines. The Philippines Amazon call centers just got closed, so there's a little bit of a talent influx over in the Philippines right now. Take advantage of that for those that are hiring VAs. But for the most part, I'd say Pakistan has a younger, less experienced Amazon force, and it's up and coming. Brandon says, follow up to Richard's question. We primarily do wholesale. We'd recommend doing the NARF program. I would say definitely NARF program without a doubt, 100% for sure. Leonard says, do you have any advice on how I can go about testing my macro? It's just hard to A/B test with all the variables, the same concise result. Leonard, it's really hard to build a macro without lots of data. Totally agree. You need multiple accounts or a really high spend. Syed says, I gave an interview for the position of Amazon VA. I'm now hoping to hear good news soon. Well, appreciate you interviewing. Thanks for stopping by. If anybody else is interested in interviewing with my Amazon guy, you can send an email to phjobs@myamazonguy.com. Sierra, feel free to add that. Or recruiting@myamazonguy.com. Both of those will go to our recruiting team. Jacob says, follow up on Amazon attribution question. Could we use a source tag on the non-Google ads to the brand store, track the ads the way, or is that broken too? Google is the only way that it's currently working as intended. So yes, that would be totally fine. Source codes are working. All right. And thanks for joining us today. That's the My Amazon Guy podcast. We'll have part 2 today. We got a double header today in 2 hours from now. Join the Jungle Scout Q&A. If you didn't get your question in today, you're itching for more with me. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, and the founder of My Amazon Guy. Go into the Jungle Scout presentation at 3 o'clock today. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button to us. Tell others about our live Q&A every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, with various guests showing up between noon and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, as well as a daily video post on everything it takes to grow sales on Amazon. Thanks for coming and watching. My name is